Good morning, grade 4s, and welcome to WorksheetCloud.com's online lessons. A very warm welcome to any of my new learners today. I hope that you are as excited as me to get into this lesson. For today's lesson, you are going to need a pencil or a pen and a page because unlike some of my other lessons today, you're actually going to have to write some things down. So, without wasting too much of your time, grade 4s, we are going to get into it soon. If you have any questions about this lesson or any of my other lessons, please send an email to grade4@worksheetcloud.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can after this lesson. So today's lesson is going to be a reading and viewing lesson, and we're going to be looking at the greedy dog. The lesson outline for today. As usual, grade 4s, we have a quote for the day for some inspiration and for some motivation. We're going to punctuate a paragraph, some tips for reading and viewing, reading a story, and then we're going to be answering some questions. The quote for today. Imagination is the key to freedom. Now, grade 4s, at this stage, I want you to just think about that quote, okay? What could that possibly mean? And then look at the picture on the screen right now. It's obviously there's a rocket, there's stars, it's the moon, and we are looking at imagination is the key to freedom. So how could this possibly have, what does that have to do with the picture that it's on? Think about it for a few seconds. Right, so your imagination is obviously what makes you creative. Thinking about things outside of the box, they like to say, without having to kind of face, okay, it's either this way or that way. You can actually say, no, but why don't we try a more creative solution? And that is how your imagination works for you. Now, how is that the key to freedom? Well, when you think outside of the box, when you use your imagination and you dream up things, like somebody must have used their imagination when they thought, hey, I wonder what it's going to be like up on the moon. And they use their creativity to build that machine. And obviously technology and chemistry and all of those things came into effect. But it started out with an idea, with a thought. And that idea changed the world. So your imagination isn't just something that you can create artsy kind of work. Okay, you can start thinking about things really. And that imagination can lead you to freedom, can lead you to a way of outside your circumstances, outside of a place that you don't want to be. Okay, so think about that for today and for the near future. I hope that made sense. So we're going to punctuate a paragraph. Here is our paragraph, grade 4s, and I want you to read it carefully, and then you're going to see where the mistakes are, and we're going to try and fix them. So, Maria enjoyed going to school each day. She took her books and studies. She wants to be in the top 5 in class. Maria thinks that she has the potential, so she's going to work very hard to reach her goal. So that is our paragraph. As you can see, I struggled with that one because there was no real space to breathe. So that's my first clue, grade 4s, is that I struggle to breathe through this paragraph. So you obviously have to put in some punctuation marks to help the reading of it better. I'm going to leave it for a few seconds and then we're going to do the corrections together. Good luck, grade 4s. So let me take out my pen quickly so that I can have mine available for when we are going to work on this together. And I have my pen or pencil out. And we're going to take it line by line. So Maria seems quite good because now we already know that it starts with a capital letter. So Maria enjoyed going to school. Each day she took her books and studies. Okay, so Maria enjoyed going to school. I know that that is a full sentence and therefore there needs to be a full stop over here. With a full stop comes the idea that the next word has to start with a capital letter. Wow, did you see that? Grade 4's, my pen just did its own thing over there. So let's just get that out there and start again. So full stop. Okay. And then my capital E. Okay. For each day, that is my new sentence. So Maria enjoyed going to school. Full stop. There's my full stop. Terrible full stop, but it's a full stop. Each day she took her books and studies. She wants to be in the top 5 in her class. Okay, so each day she took her books and studies. That doesn't make sense, does it? So there's obviously a mistake in the verb because here this whole paragraph is actually in present tense. It's in present tense. Okay? Terrible PNR. And therefore, the word took is causing quite a problem there because took indicates that it's past tense. So if I change this word took and I write takes instead, which is the present tense version of the word took, if I put takes in there instead, let's see what happens, okay? Right, let's see. Each day she takes her books and studies. Now that makes sense, okay? So obviously the mistake there was the verb was in the wrong tense. So studies would be the end of my sentence, the full stop, and now I'll put an S, capital S in my next sentence. So she wants to be in the top 5 in class. That's also a full stop over there because that's the end of that sentence. With me? Right. And be in the top 5, in does not start with a capital letter in the middle of a sentence. So I know that that is a mistake there and it needs to be a. Oh, and there my pen did it again. So I know that that needs to be a small I, okay? And then in the top 5 in class, full stop, okay? Maria, capital M. Thinks. Wow, that is a terrible spelling for thinks. That must come out and it must be an I. That she has the potential. So she's going to work very hard to reach her goals. Maria thinks that she has the potential. There must be a comma there. So she's going to work very hard to reach her goals. Goals is spelled completely wrong over there. Goals is spelled Goals with a full stop at the end. I hope you got all of these mistakes and you fixed them. Grade 4s, and if you haven't, let me just put the answers up. So, wow, so you see, even I missed one. So enjoyed also had to come out and be enjoys because of the verb tense. So Maria enjoys going to school each day. She takes her books and studies. So here, the mistake is there because the full stop must actually be there and the capital letter must be there. You see, grade 4s, even teachers make mistakes. Her books and studies. She wants to be in the top 5 in class. Maria thinks that she has the potential, so she's going to work very hard to reach her goals. I hope that you got that, grade 4s, and I'm sure that most of you did. And you even picked up on my mistake. Right. The greedy dog. Let me move up. Okay. The greedy dog. Before I get you to read, or as we're going to read this text, I want you to think about this. We're going to do a pre-reading activity. And in a pre-reading activity, we'll look at the title of the text and we're going to try and guess. Okay, we're going to try and guess what we think the story is about. So, the greedy dog. We're looking at it. Obviously, it's about a dog, which is an animal, and it's about a greedy dog. So, think, grade 4s, what could the story possibly be about? And use your imagination and try and build up a story around that. So, the greedy dog. That means that obviously there was a dog that wanted to eat more than what he was given, maybe, or a dog that didn't want to accept or wasn't grateful for what he had. So we can make up all our assumptions, and those assumptions are our predictions on what the story could be about. And those predictions are important, grade 4s, because it helps us build and helps us understand the story. I said this so many times. Yes, we can read. Reading is the good part. But do we understand what we are reading? And that is what is important. So, let's read the story now. One day, a greedy, vicious dog was roaming the streets when he smelled a delicious odor. The hungry dog followed the scent to a young puppy carrying a meaty bone in his mouth. The vicious dog bared its teeth and snarled at the puppy. The puppy got such a fright that he dropped the bone and scampered away. The greedy dog thought, "This looks delicious." He was about to devour the bone when he became afraid that a larger dog might be attracted to the tempting smell. Instead of eating the bone, he quickly ran away. As he ran, he came to a bridge with a brook running below. Upon looking down, he saw a dog and with a meaty bone in his mouth, looking up at him. What a puny-looking dog! I can scare him easily and take his bone as well, he said to himself. He began barking loudly at the dog below. The bone he had held in his mouth dropped into the brook with a splash. The dog trudged back home feeling very hungry. Okay, so I've read the story once. At this stage, grade 4s, I want you to pause this video and read it one more time. Let's discuss the story. So, I have put the story back onto the screen, grade 4s, and I want us to discuss it paragraph by paragraph before we go on to the questions. So one day, a greedy, vicious dog was roaming the streets when he smelled a delicious odor. The hungry dog followed the scent to a young puppy carrying a meaty bone in his mouth. The vicious dog bared its teeth and snarled at the puppy. The puppy got such a fright that he dropped the bone and scampered away. So, first paragraph, what do we know? We know now that it was a dog that was hungry, okay? And he was looking in the streets to see if he could find some food. While he was looking, he thought, something smells yummy. So, he saw a young puppy carrying this meaty bone. Instead of going up to the puppy and asking for a little bit or finding his own food, the greedy dog decided he's going to scare this puppy into giving the bone to him. So he scared the puppy, and because the puppy is small and still a baby, the puppy ran away. Okay? And the greedy dog, got to have that bone. The greedy dog thought, "This looks delicious." He was about to devour the bone when he became afraid that a larger dog might be attracted to the tempting smell. So at this moment, grade 4s, he now knows that he's got the bone, he has the food. So instead of eating it while he has it, he thinks, what if a larger dog comes and steals my bone? so I'm rather going to run away. As he ran, he came to a bridge with a brook running below, which is like a little river. Upon looking down, he saw a dog with a meaty bone in his mouth looking up at him. And so he now thought, no, this bone that I have isn't enough for me. I want that bone that that dog also has, which makes him pretty greedy, grade 4s. And so he went and he thought to himself, hey, this dog looks so small, puny. Oh, I can scare him too, because it worked with the puppy, didn't it? And so he barked at the dog and he started making the dog scared. And what happened? The bone fell into the brook, like the little river, fell into the river because the dog was scared and he just dropped the bone. And so the greedy dog went home without any kind of food because he wanted more and more instead of being happy with what he already had. So that is a pretty good lesson, grade 4. Sometimes we're not happy with what we have and we want what somebody else has. And then we realize, hey, that what somebody else has doesn't belong to us. And this would obviously put things into a different kind of perspective. And I hope that made sense. So let's move on to the questions. Number 1. Who is the main character in the story? Number 2. What was he looking for? Number 3. Why did the puppy leave his bone? Do you think the greedy dog was smart to want another bone? And number 5. What is the moral of the story? And when I ask for what is the moral of the story, grade 4s, I want you to tell me what is the lesson? What are we supposed to learn about this story? I'm going to leave this on for a few seconds, grade 4s, and I want you to try and figure out and write down the answers to these questions. Good luck. And so, right, let's get to the answers of these questions. Who is the main character in the story? So, grade 4s, I want you to remember that I like to encourage full sentences. And the way we write full sentences is if we use the part of the question in our answer. So, the main character of the story, oh, terrible line I'm using, and that's how we start our answer. So we're going to say, who is the main character in the story? The main character in the story is the greedy dog. He's the main character. What was he looking for? We can say he was looking for something to eat because he was hungry. Why did the puppy leave his bone? The puppy, oh, terrible. The puppy, not leave his bone, we're going to say left his bone because we are using the question to answer our question. So the puppy left his bone because the greedy dog was barking and snarling at him. Do you think the greedy dog was smart to want another bone? This question, grade 4s, requires you to use your own thinking skills. Your answer would be yes or no, and then the reason why. So if you say yes, you could say yes because he was still hungry, or no because he should have been happy with what he had. And then what is the moral of the story? Again, we use the question to answer our question. The moral of the story is that you should not be greedy. Okay, and that's the lesson that they are trying to teach you in this story. And remember, grade 4s, as usual, if you have any questions about this lesson or any of my other lessons, please send an email to grade4@worksheetcloud.com. An activity is provided for you after this lesson. And like I spoke to you about before, grade 4s, remember to keep checking in on the people that are close to you. Don't forget about the checking in part that I taught you before, and using synonyms and building vocabulary. But we have reached the end of this lesson, grade 4s, and I hope that you have a wonderful day further. From me, Miss Nicole Frank, have a wonderful day. Bye.